All right, coaches, we're going to talk wide zone today. We're going to do this to define the play. Now, with wide zone, is it an inside play? Is it an outside play? That's the beautiful thing. It's both. It's not like power or counter where we're dictating the gap that we want the ball to go in. With wide zone, it's a little open-ended. So we're going to dive right into it and just kind of first talk about the play. What is it? So with wide zone to the left over here, we are going to aim anywhere outside the tackle with the running back, right? Now, I like to talk about my aiming point based off the tight end because, we could have a tight end over here and it's still the same play. So let's say that there's a tight end standing over here. We want to pick the inside leg or the outside leg, and we want to have that be the aiming point for the back. And then if the tight end's not there, like in this picture, then you're aiming at the ghost tight end. So we're aiming somewhere out here where the ghost tight end would be, or where the tight end would be. This is a ghost tight end picture. Why? Okay, why that whole thing? Well, on your zone plays, the beautiful thing about them is that you can run them strong or weak. You can run them to a tight end, okay, and away from a tight end. So if you run to a tight end and you run away from a tight end, you might have to create different zone runs rules. I don't want to do that personally. I don't want to have to teach more than one zone play. I've done it before. It makes it a little more confusing. I want to teach zone one way and call it strong and weak. That's me personally. Okay, so aiming point wise, we're good. It's going to be somewhere outside the tackle. You're going to tell the running back to aim either outside or inside leg of a tight end. And if there is no tight end, you're going to say ghost tight end. Okay, so this would be a ghost tight end aiming point here. All right, so we're aiming at the ghost tight end. Okay, running back is going to scissor kick, open step, however you want to get him on his path. He has got to get on that path, and he is going to stay on that path for 5 steps while he decides to either continue on that path outside or get up vertical with a foot in the ground to go north right away. We are not trying to cut back. We're trying to cut up, right? So that's the big misconception on the wide zone play. People want to talk about the cutback. Oh, what a cutback. Okay, it shouldn't be a cutback. It should be a cut up. All right, so let's just do an example on this. This running back is going to move off his original path, right? This is going to be a big gain. Okay, so let's let this play, all right? And let's draw a picture, okay, at the path. So that's where his path is, right? But let's go back and look. Okay, his path was somewhere out here, all right? But he actually went inside the tackle. So now let's play it. He never moved off that original path, but he went inside the tackle. A lot of people would say, oh, what a cutback. Not cutback. He stayed on his path. Okay, he stayed on his path. And what makes this a zone concept play is the fact that he is going to read this dude. All right, this is the end man on the line. The running back's going to get his eyes on this block, right? And again, that's what makes it the strong and weak play. You can run it to a tight end or away because all the running back knows is I'm going to read what happens to that player, and I'm going to make my decision based off what happens to that player. And in this picture, okay, the tackle gets the block, and this player decides to set the edge. Okay, the linebacker D-end type here, he decides that he wants to stay outside and force the ball back inside. Well, that's fine with the running back. It's a zone play, so he's got that option. That's the advantage of zone plays. Now, first thing we need to talk about with blocking, okay, is day one install. It's not about day one. First thing we talk about. It's not about covered. It's not about uncovered. It's not about combos. The first thing we talk about is everybody's step with the play side foot. Okay? Should have all 5 O-linemen on the first step look the same. Okay, let's see if they get that done. First step, okay, for the most part, we are all looking like mirror images of each other. Okay, we'll full screen this to see if it works better that way for you. All right, so we'll pause it on the first step. 5 guys, all with their eyes in their gap, looking good. This is day one install. Okay, why teach it this way? Well, I believe that you teach it day one as a full zone play, because when the defense moves post-snap, or if they're blitzing and we've identified that their game plan is to blitz us, then it doesn't matter what you did on the whiteboard on Monday and install, because Friday night, they're moving. Defenses aren't stagnant anymore. These guys, these D coordinators are throwing a bunch of stuff at us. They've caught up to that. All right. So if we tell the center and backside guard here to have a real heavy combo up to this backside linebacker, well, in this picture, the center's blocking the 4-eye. Okay, so again, I don't like necessarily having a bunch of different plays for strong and weak zone, and I don't like having a bunch of combo calls. We have them, but we don't teach it day one. We don't install it right away. We teach it as a gang concept. We're all ganging together. We're like a chain gang. We're moving together. One can't move without the other, right? And I don't even believe that you need to necessarily ID the point linebacker, the Mike linebacker on run plays. If you do a good job teaching the concepts of the plays, those guys will communicate it well, and you'll be productive. All right, so this would be a good clip to teach for a day one install zone concept, outside play, because they are all stepping together, trying to stay square. I like how square 68 is. His shoulder, I can read his numbers. 58, I can read his numbers. 75, I can read his numbers. Center gets a little turned for me. I can't read his second number anymore. So he's kind of lucky that congestion happens. And we always say congestion is our friend. Okay? So that's day one install. That's how we would teach it. Now let's go to a little bit of a more complex look. All right. So that's not what I want. I want a 4 down. Cool. All right. A little more of a complex look now. After the day one teaching of gang, the gang concept where everybody's working together, nobody's comboing. You do have to eventually start adding in the combos, all right, and adding in that people are working together. And I'm a big believer in that, because now you know who the kids on the field need to know who they're accountable for, right? So the first one we showed was pistol. This one is in the gun, obviously. You can do both. I think you should do both. So in this gun RPO situation, you're going to get a man-on-man backside here, okay? And in this picture, you're going to see a covered player, and an uncovered player, okay? So after day one, we start to get into covered and uncovered, and this is a good, easy way to do it, okay? If you're covered, if someone is head up or outside of you, you're covered, okay? It's pretty simple. Zone play to the right, right tackle's covered, right guard is covered. The center is uncovered, okay? Now, right there, we taught the whole play. If you're uncovered, you have rules. If you're covered, you have rules. And if you're covered, we do what I like to call an uppercut reach. Okay, we're going to take our backside arm, we're going to uppercut, and we're going to take that guy with us as we run. because we are not trying to get a dramatic reach block on this guy. Okay, what we're trying to do is we're trying to move the defensive front. Okay, we're trying to move them with us to create bigger lanes. The defense has already given us a good run lane here. Good run lane here if we can move this guy out of the way or reach him. But it's hard to reach people. Okay? It's really hard. You know, those people, they got a gap. They don't want to get reached. What they do want to do is they want to stay exactly where they are. So as we watch this play, all right, we see a defensive end who wants to go outside. Okay, and we're going to focus on this DN because, again, this is the running back's read. So number one here, he wants to stay outside. That tackle, I like to tell him, if he wants to stay outside, you take your backside arm and you throw him to the Gatorade cooler, get a drink of water, and go back on the field and block someone else. Okay, take him outside. That's fine, right? So that's a really good job by the tackle. He's covered. He knows responsibility. Now, this guard is also covered. He's got a guy outside shoulder. Okay, so he's going to uppercut reach as well. But when he uppercut reaches, the D lineman jumps to his inside. All right? So what we don't want to do is cut a D lineman loose until we feel someone take over that D lineman. Right? Now, if this guy had stayed outside, he would do exactly what the tackle did. He would continue to push him towards the sideline and let the running back make a decision. Okay, now we have an uncovered player in the center. Okay, and here's the deal. The center is uncovered because there is nobody touching the frame of his body. Okay, this is the closest D lineman. He's back there. He's not threatening the center. Because, again, the center is responsible for his play set area just like everyone else. So there's going to be some kind of communication here. I'm not going to give you my word for it, but I have a very simple word which he's going to say to this guy, I'm coming with you. So if your dude slants inside, he's my dude. And then you climb, all right? So, again, that's why we don't have to do a bunch of identification of linebackers. We don't have to make a bunch of calls. It's just I'm covered, and, hey, the center just told me he's coming with me. So he knows the center's coming with me. Okay, so he's not shocked when the center's helping him out. But the center, and this is a big thing, the center just pushes the guy over. That guy's not slanting all the way to him. So he just pushes him over and he climbs. Very simple. Now, how do you coach that? I coach it as a 3-step decision for the center. Okay, so that first step's going to move. One, right foot, left foot, right foot. You got to decide, do I block a D lineman or climb for a backer? So let's count right foot, left, 3-step. Okay, he goes 3-step. He decides, you know what? I can't overtake that guy. So if I can't overtake him, I'll push him over, climb for a linebacker, get a hat on a hat, and now the running back's into the second level. And this is not the biggest gain in the world. Okay, but it's 5 yards. Do you want to rush for 5 yards a carry? Me too, right? And the guy that makes the play is the backside dudes. So maybe we'll throw a slant behind number 33 on the next play and gain 10 yards. So that's kind of the idea of the play as far as the covered, uncovered rules. Again, it doesn't get much simpler than that, but that's the way you can teach it, And people are all into combo calls and words, and, I don't think you need it. So, again, here's an example. There is a tight end, but we're running the ball weak. Now, I showed you the first clip from Pistol, and I believe that the pistol is the best way to run any zone play. The reason I like the pistol is the running back has a better angle to threaten the edge, and you will actually get outside more often on the pistol than from the gun. But, these fancy, awesome things called RPOs are in existence now. And I think if you're not running them, you're missing out, so you should. But this angle is just slower. So a lot of times you do get the ball in that window. But either way, it's good. I mean, it's great play from either. But you definitely want, especially like this guy, they had an NFL, straight up NFL running, quarterback. That guy throwing the ball to a skinny dude for 6 yards that he beats one guy and he goes 80 yards. It's not a bad situation. This guy, we got to block. How many dudes are in the box right now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You could say 7. We got to block 6 guys for him to gain yards, and you could do a pitch and catch. So, all right, RPO lecture over. Now, the tight front, okay? Some people call it bear. Some people call it double eagle. The tight front. If you're an inside zone team, you're going to see the tight front. It is a great way to stop or at least slow down inside zone because you have inside gap. They've taken away your B gaps. And the inside zone, it's tough sledding if you don't have any B gaps. You can't aim for a B gap bubble. So that's why inside zone and wide zone, outside zone type plays pair so well together because, yes, they're stopping the inside zone schematically, but it's pretty hard to stop an outside concept and an inside concept at the same time. And that's where this play pairs well together. So you got the tight front here. Now you can get combos. Right? Because let's go right down the line. We're going wide zone to the right. This player, okay, there's no one on his outside edge. There's someone inside of him. I would consider this guy covered. There's no one to run out to. So just consider that guy covering you. Now, if there was a linebacker standing right here, now you got to block that linebacker, and he needs to block this DN. But don't overcomplicate it. If you think you're covered, you are. Don't run to space if you don't need to. So just by the covered uncovered principles, you end up getting a double team, okay, up to basically a big circle of nobody because they are selling out to stop the inside zone and the RPO over here. Okay, so you're gonna have an opportunity to get the edge now, which is a really good thing. Center's covered, so he's gonna uppercut reach. Backside guard uncovered. He's going to have a 3-step decision, 1, 2, 3, and climb. Backside tackle, he's covered, right? That's a 4-eye. He's definitely covering up the tackle. And again, you can run it to a tight end on the backside. Now you have a 3-man surface back here, so even if the ball does cut up, you should be able to get everybody reached on the backside. Okay, so let's see how this plays out. I think that the offense has a number advantage for the wide zone play. But again, they have a numbers advantage for the wide zone play. They do not have a numbers advantage for an inside run. Okay? They just don't. And again, that's why you want to pair these together. And if you're running inside zone, you should be running outside zone and vice versa. All right, so let's see how this plays out versus this tight front. All right, so like we said, if somebody wants to run outside, you just take them outside. Okay, you take them outside. And this is what's so beautiful about the play is, these two players, they are both looking at this down guy because there's no one else out here threatening the tackle's play side gap. Now, if you want to draw up a million combos and calls and things, be my guest. It works that way too, but I think you can do it this way. The center, he's stepping to reach this nose, but he would have gotten some kind of communication saying from this backside tackle saying, "Hey, I'm with you," right? So when that nose is hanging back on him, he's kind of holding the center. We get a big mass of bodies there, which is really good, right? Now, this is a big coaching point. If you're uncovered, you're running to the next guy, and you want to close that space down so that if anything replaces that space, and usually if there is space, the defense is moving to replace it, you've gotten shoulder to shoulder with your next guy, just like on an inside zone concept. You want to chase that next offensive lineman, close the space, and this linebacker runs directly into the guard, right? So why is wide zone such a good play, even when they're plugging all the gaps? Okay, are they gap sound here? In theory, yes, they're slanting this guy out. Looks like they're trying to two gap here to play this A gap, and they're trying to move and blitz. But our gaps are now moving. So if you want to defend our gaps, you have to defend them on the run. And eventually, one of you is going to be outside the gap that you're supposed to play. The running back has options, and he chooses correctly, right? So those three examples, what do they all have in common? Well, they're all good gains, and none of them went outside, right? Now, this play here, it ends up going outside, but the running back, he goes inside the tackle and then gets it outside. So I think that's why a lot of coaches have gone away from the term outside zone, because that's not always the case. It could go either way. But if you're interested in this video, please check out my other videos, Coach Kirkpatrick, YouTube, and I love zone plays and I love talking about them. So until next time, thanks a lot.